Bradley Manning Support Network, and I'm also involved with Iraq Vets Against the War and Occupy Open. That's where I just went from last night. So I was going to give a PowerPoint, but it didn't work, so I just put stuff together. So if you don't know who Bradley Manning is, he was a 24-year-old now, Army intelligence analyst who has been in prison for over 2 years now without a court-martial, which is a military tradition of trial. The first 10 months of those 2 years of pre-trial confinement were spent in solitary confinement, where he was subjected to isolation, torture, harsh conditions, arbitrary suicide watch, where he was basically asked if he was okay every 5 minutes for a couple months, which is driving him crazy. He's accused of leaking, first of all, a video of a U.S. helicopter in Iraq killing civilians and journalists. That video is called Collateral Murder. You can go look it up. But it depicts a U.S. helicopter firing at 11 civilians, which they determine arbitrarily are combatants. But within those 11 civilians, there was 2 Reuters journalists who were killed. The helicopter pilot mistook the camera he's holding for an RPG, rocket propellant grenade, and then basically slaughtered everybody. And a van that came out to take the wounded away was also fired upon, and there was 2 children injured in that van. So that was a big shock to the world when that was released. And then subsequently, a whole trove of diplomatic cables were released, and war logs. So there was the Iraq war logs, there was the Afghan war diaries, there was embarrassing U.S. diplomatic cables, and there was the Guantanamo files. All of these documents basically catalog war crimes, civilian casualties, bribery, corruption, spying, torture, you name it. It's all in those documents. So, the real realities of U.S. foreign policy, the wars, were just, we already knew, we already had this, we could already see all these things, but then it just reaffirmed what we already knew. So, basically, they're accusing Bradley Manning of, he's facing life in prison now. And they're accusing him of being a traitor, of aiding the enemy. That was one of the charges he's facing. He's also facing charges under the Espionage Act for being a spy, and a whole number of other security violations. Not a single person has been harmed due to the release of these documents. They're trying to say that he compromised national security, that he put other people's lives in danger by doing this. There's been no evidence of that. On the contrary, Secretary Robert Gates, the defense secretary, actually came out and said that the impact of these releases are fairly modest. So we're getting 2 messages from the government, that it's either fairly modest or that it's detrimental to national security. So the aiding the enemy charge that Bradley Manning is facing is actually setting a very dangerous precedent for other people in the military, for whistleblowers, for anyone who not necessarily speaks out against the military, but just talks to journalists. For instance, back in the early days of the war, there was a soldier who was asking Donald Rumsfeld, why didn't we were promised armor, why didn't we have armor? They could then say, because he was talking to the press, and the press is there, that soldier is now indirectly telling Al-Qaeda, because they have access to the internet and these news sources, that there's military personnel out there without armor, so they could then say that he's aiding the enemy. So this is a very dangerous precedent for freedom of information, for whistleblowing, for anything. And back to the enemy charge, there wasn't any intent to aid the enemy. The intent that Bradley Manning had, which can be seen in the discussion, debates, and reforms. So there's no intent of wanting to take the enemy or traitor. Just saw these atrocities happening, thought that they would need it to be out in the public domain. So he committed a very selfless act, in my opinion, by releasing those documents, letting everyone know. So what Bradley Manning was subjected to while he was in prison is actually illegal under U.S. military and UN law. There's actually a continuous UN investigation, which is repeatedly being stonewalled by the U.S. military, by the U.S. government. UN Rapporteur on Torture Juan Mendez has repeatedly tried to come in and investigate and talk with Bradley Manning about his conditions. So, it's a torture investigation. So the U.S. is torturing their own soldiers. So because he's been in jail for so long, and because they're not, and because he was subjected to solitary confinement, and it's basically, the military itself has laws on fair and speedy trial, and they just continuously violate even their own laws in this case, which shows a great deal of incompetence, a great deal of ineptitude on behalf of the military, on behalf of the U.S. government, which should be the basis for acquittal and dismissal of these charges in the first place. Even if they have legitimate grounds for charging Bradley Manning, he should still be dismissed based on all the government shortcomings in this case. So there was over 300 top legal scholars that actually came out and said that Bradley Manning's treatment was a violation of the Fifth and Eighth Amendments, and that he should be released. And that these violations were against cruel and unusual punishment, essentially. And there was a large outcry, and eventually he was moved from Quantico, Virginia, Marine Brig to Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, where he's been ever since. It's all big decline. So a lot of people did speak up about torture in his conditions, and we were actually able to stop it. So that was a big victory for us. Unfortunately, President Obama has come out and said that he broke the law. He said it in public on camera. And this is very concerning because this is a pre-trial declaration of guilt by the commander-in-chief, which constitutes undue and unlawful command influence, which hasn't been the basis of acquittal in the past in other military court cases. The president being a constitutional or ex-constitutional law professor should know better, but he doesn't. And the same words were echoed recently by the Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman, General Martin Dempsey, which he said he violated the law too. So we have two of Bradley Manning's superiors saying he's already guilty without a court martial. So this is a problem, and hopefully it can be used as a base for dropping these ridiculous charges. So a few things that Wikileaks revealed, and once again, it's all classified info, so you're all breaking the law and compromising national security by reading Wikileaks cables. But there was an official policy to ignore torture in Iraq. When Bradley Manning first started having misgivings about his situation during deployment, he actually was, because he was an intelligence analyst, he saw actual evidence of prisoners being tortured by Iraqi security forces in Bagram Air Base. He then went to his superiors and say, hey, there's evidence that this is what's happening. These prisoners were transferring, they're being tortured. Here's documents for it. And he was basically told to shut up and keep doing his job. So in the cables, there's actual documentation of that. Also, the U.S. government had been faking not support him because of his human rights violations if a popular uprising broke out. When that was exposed to the world, especially in Tunisia, fueled the revolution, the uprising that was really happening there, which we all know was the first domino to fall in the Arab Spring last year. U.S. officials were told to cover up evidence of child abuse by contractors in Afghanistan. Dynacorp actually brought in child prostitutes for Afghan warlords in Afghanistan, which all our tax dollars. Also, that the people in the Mubarak regime in Egypt, torturers, received training from the FBI in Quantico, Virginia. There is also an official tally of civilian deaths in Iraq and Afghanistan that was being kept by the U.S. military, which they said they weren't keeping, but the cables came out and showed very large numbers of non-combatant deaths, particularly in Iraq. These are just military numbers, but they said 66,000 non-combatants were killed. We all know that's far less than the actual number, but that's just military color. And they also exposed that a lot of prisoners in Guantanamo were either low-level operatives or innocent people who were just picked up on suspicion, were picked up because they looked like Taliban, on very, very insufficient evidence. U.S. military officials withheld information about indiscriminate killings of journalists and innocent Iraqi civilians. The list goes on about other things that Wikileaks revealed, but it's very great. It's very good that we know this information because it just shows that all these wars are illegitimate and detrimental to everybody. So there was a recent hearing in Fort Meade, Maryland, where Bradley Manning is being tried right now. He's going through a series of pretrial hearings. Most recent hearing, his defense lawyer moved to dismiss all the charges based on withholding of evidence by the prosecution, by the military. There's actual an assessment put out by the Justice Department, the State Department, on the actual impact of Wikileaks cables, which would, we all know would of course show that nobody was killed or been injured because of these releases, but the government is withholding that from the defense. But from my understanding, the defense is going to be given that information soon. He also put forth a motion to dismiss the aiding the enemy charge, which has no basis at all because he didn't have intent to aid the enemy. He merely just gave information to the public domain to journalists. Other motions that were put forth was a combination of charges. The government started Bradley with a whole bunch of ridiculous things just to rack up punishment against Bradley. So the defense is fighting very hard. Unfortunately, the judge is denying most of the motions the defense is putting forth. But there's more pretrial hearings coming up in June, July, and August. So if you could come to Fort Meade, Maryland, we need all the support we can get for Bradley. And his court martial is now tentatively